We're on Daf Nun Gimel Aleph still, and we're up to Amalei Kakbir Shabiyosha. It's a little bit less than halfway way down the Amud. It says we're talking about the case of Acharecha. So Amalei Kakbir Shabiyosha via Mishnah. This is Rabbi Yosha, the father of the Mishnah. Rabbi Yosha compiled the brises from which the Mishnayos were made, so he's called Rabbi Yosha via Mishnah. So Kach B'Yesh Rabbi Yosha via Mishnah, the case Achrav Leploini, V'Achrav Leploini. Now the Girsa here is choppy, and probably the Girsa should be fixed. But without me fixing the Girsa directly, let me just tell you how to learn it. I'm not going to fix the Girsa, but I'm going to learn it like the Ritbaz does, and he does fix the Girsa, but I'll just learn it as it is written here, in order not to make it too complicated. Kach B'Yesh Rabbi Yosha via Mishnah, Achrav Leploini v'Achrav Leploini. If I say let it go to Ruvain, and after him to Shimon, and after him to Levi, right? So there are three people here. So in this case, only then can the third guy not get the property unless the second guy gets before him. Since I said to Ruvain, and then after him to Shimon, and then after him to Levi, so then if Shimon predeceases Ruvain, so chain is broken. However, right? Ilo Mar Meis, what if he said, after so-and-so dies, let it, actually, wrong word. I used after. Meis Ploni Leploni. If I said, if Ruvain dies to Shimon, if Shimon dies to Levi, right? So then, in that case, Meis Ruvain LeShimon, Meis Shimon LeLevi, then, and I didn't say Acharecha, then in that case, it's not considered to be sequential. And then, even if Shimon dies before Ruvain, since Ruvain died, and then since Shimon and Ruvain both died, so then it goes to Levi. Right, because contingent on the death of the two of them, not on the order of 1 to 2 to 3. Okay? So it says, Ilomar Meis, then Ashlishi B'chaye Sheni. Then the third guy has rights already during the lifetime of the second. What?
It takes over.
Right. So Ashli he has already rights during the second's lifetime, and even the second predeceases the first. Nevertheless, the Shlishi already has dibs on it because the word Acharecha was not used. Okay. Now, getting back, however, to the case of Acharecha, if you have a case, well, even if it didn't say Acharecha, let's say both the second and third, and I don't think it matters if it's Acharecha or Meis Ploni, Ploni, Meis Ploni, Ploni, but the number 2 and number 3 died before number 1, not just number 2, also number 3. They both predeceased number 1. So the heirs, Meis Ploni, became Shlo Zocha B'En Hasheni, since the second guy never got it and the third guy never got it either, so Lo Zocha Yorshim Yos. The Yorshim of number 2 and number 3 have no claims. The property stays by Ruvain and his heirs. Okay, because whether I said Meis Ploni, Ploni, Meis Ploni, Ploni, or whether I said Leploni, V'Acharech Leploni, V'Acharecha V'Achrav Leploni, the only people who have claims are the people themselves, not their heirs. So therefore, if they both predeceased Ruvain, first one, Ruvain's heirs get to keep it, and Shimon and Levi's heirs have no taina. Makes sense, right? Okay? So it says, so you come out, Ashkechasaymer usually means you come out saying, but here it means we found concerning Acharav Leploni, concerning this case of Acharav Leploni, we found the following brisa. What's the brisa we found? Tane, we learned, Tarishon Bocher Karka V'Lokeach Peros. The first fellow sells the land and acquires fruit. Divrei Rebbe. Now, this is talking about where he said to Ruvain, and Acharecha to Shimon, and Achrov to Levi. Ruvain sold the land. The land which he got. He bought fruit. It's a valid transaction. Shimon's never going to get it. Levi's never going to get it. Tough. Ruvain changed the face of the transaction. Tough on Levi and tough on Shimon. Tough on Shimon, tough on Levi.
They just inherit whatever's left over from Ruvain's estate. So if Ruvain liquidates part of the estate before he dies, then that's okay, right?
Yeah, but the chiddush is that even though the original owner, tried to put the sequence in effect, the first guy can undermine it.
Still in effect. The only difference is that there's less.
That's how he sells all the property.
That's Ruvain's discretion.
Right. Okay. That's all the more. That's what Rabbi's saying. Rabbi Shimon argues. Shimon says, he only has the right to eat the fruit, not to sell the land. Okay? Because of the Acharecha.
Yeah, but there was no strings attached. Ruvain could do whatever.
There was one string. Acharecha. So Shimon holds that's enough.
There's nothing left. Then there's no out.
Yeah, but okay, that's their issue. Is he required to make sure something's left or not left? Okay? That's the bottom line. So it says Gemara, Rechizki Amar, Halachic Rebbe, that if the first one sells, he sells. Amar Ramona said, now, I have to explain a very important point here. Well, not yet. Let me wait one more minute. From that which Ramona said, Halachas like Rebbe, Hadamaras teaches us she'ein noislo b'matna shchib meira. Leaving. We pass in a look like Rebbe that acharecha means that you can sell. If I said to Ruvain and acharecha, I said to Ruvain, I'm giving you this land. V'acharecha l'Shimon, v'acharav l'Levi. Now, according to Rebbe, Ruvain gets to sell the land. But the way the Yerushalmi understands, there's a very big difference between the Yerushalmi and the Bavli in this, and we'll see in a minute. I'm going to explain the Yerushalmi based on the Ritbaz, who says the Bavli argues. But the way the Yerushalmi understands, the reason why Ruvain can sell it is because nobody has a Kinyan Guf. There is no Kinyan Guf right now. Why is there no Kinyan Guf? Because nobody is going to get to keep it in this family. Nobody has title. Either title remains by the original giver, whoever that was, or there is no title until Levi gets it down the line. But there is no Kinyan Guf. Each one has Kinyan Peros in turn. Reuven has Kinyan Peros. Then Shimon has Kinyan Peros. Then Levi has Kinyan Peros. Okay? Now, what does Kinyan Peros means? It means I can sell the land to buy myself Peros. That too is a form of Kinyan Peros. Normally, somebody else has a Kinyan Guf and impedes upon me from using my Kinyan Peros, means the right of usage, to sell, because he's still got the title somewhere. But nobody here has the title. Somebody has the title, so therefore who gets to sell it? Whoever's owning it at that point in time. However, to give as a matna shchimera, he wants to give it as he dies, as a gift. He's not going to get any payros from that. He's about to die. He has no right to give as a matna shchimera. The assumption which underlies his being able to give it as a gift is that he can make payros out of that. And even to give a gift during his lifetime, he can say, I'll get toivas anor. If I give this guy a gift, someday I scratch his back, he'll scratch mine. But that doesn't work by matna shchimera, because matna shchimera is purely an act of giving without any acquisition in return. So in essence, you can't be a good guy when it comes to the kinyan acharecha rights which you have. Now that's different than the Bavli. The Bavli has a much more pedestrian reason for not Matna Shchimra not working. Matna Shchimra, the Bavli holds it doesn't work because when does the Matna Shchimra take effect? After death. After death, does he have any? It already goes to no, but even worse. After his death, who owns the property? The next guy, Shimon. If your property and the heirs get your property, so the heirs have a mitzvah to listen to what you tell them. But Shimon has no mitzvah to listen to what you tell him. So therefore, you can't give us Matna Shchimra because Matna Shchimra takes effect after death. However, the Yerushalmi doesn't learn that way. And that's proof from the next line. Says the Gemara, Hacha Marabi Mona, this Rabbi Mona said, Kum Rabbi Yossi. As a result of this lomdus, that you can only sell when you have kinyan, when you're going to get hanoah of kinyan of payros from it. So therefore, gewaldige chiddush he wants to say. He wants to say, for hado isha woman, Mikevit shemazon and sell baila, does she need to acquire food? Who supports a woman? Her husband. So in a case where she's in the string of acharecha, it was to the woman and then achareha to so-and-so and achareha to so-and-so. He wants to contend, right, Mara, she can't sell the property. She's like a shchimera. Because she's like a shchimera, is not going to get any payros from it, and therefore is not allowed to give it away. So too, she's not going to get any payros from it. Because she doesn't need payros. Because where's she getting all the payros from? Her husband. So since she has no need for payros, she has no right to sell it. So gewaltige chiddush. The premise is you can't give this property is matna shchimera because matna shchimera has no payros, and his right is to sell. He says, "I have kinyan payros. That means I have the right to produce from this land." He can sell in order to produce profits with which he'll buy food. But shchimera doesn't need any food anymore. He's on his way out. So therefore, how can he give it away for that? It was shchimera. And similarly, Rav Mona wants to say, somebody who's a woman, a wife, does she need to get payros to procure herself payros? No. Where's she getting all her payros from? Her husband. So therefore, what right does she have to sell in the name of payros? She can't sell the property in a case where she was given only the ownership of acharecha. You look at me like you're stunned.
It's a difficult concept.
Why is it so difficult? I think it's tremendous. Gemara's going to reject it immediately, but I think it's a tremendous concept. You see a flaw in it? No? There is a flaw. Says the Gemara. Again, since her husband has supporter, it's not like matna shchimera. Says I'm sorry, it's bitmi. It's a question. Lo matna shchimera is I matna shchimera. So acharecha should not, by a woman, she should not have the right to sell it. Amar lei. He said no. He responded. Rabbi Yossi responded, Raimona. What does her husband have to provide her with? Her whatever she needs in food. In macho, food, meshach, oil, melach, salt. Basically bread, salt, and oil. But he, by mezavna, she wants to sell the acharecha property which she got, umechel tani goylin, and she wants to buy chickens. So therefore she should be allowed to sell. It's also a form of payros. So therefore you can't say that her sale is null and void because she doesn't need payros. She does need payros above the meager subsistence allowance which her husband is entitled to limit her to. She wants to sell this property in order to get more payros. Okay? Says Gemara Damras teaches us, Shimbikesh Harishon. In any case, where the first guy in the case of Acharecha to Ruvain and Acharecha, to Shimon and Achrav Levi. Any place the first guy wants to sell or the property, and use the money to buy chickens, he's allowed to do so. Why? That's also considered to be a foreign payros. Even though it's a luxury, luxuries are also payros. And it can sell the property in order to get that payros. Okay? Says Mara, Rabbi Yaakov Baracha, Tani Tamon, we learned over there, Kavura Kimzonaseh. If he has to spend the money, if he has to sell the field in order to raise money to bury a relative, that's also like Mazonos. But it's also any profit which he needs for any purpose allows him to sell the field. In the case of Acharecha. Okay? Any profit he needs. Even for the purpose of burying somebody else. Okay? What's the matter? Specifically, there's one person making a lot of noise. What? Yeah. No, the problem is that you can make out individual voices. The advantage of a large base measure, you can't make individual voices out. When you can, it's a little bit difficult. All right. So says Gemara, Kamara Tamar Tamon, just like you say elsewhere, Moicher Karkav Lokach Mazonos, you can sell land in order to realize profits in order to buy food. In other words, you can say that by Acharecha, that the person who has the right sequentially can sell land to raise money to buy food. So too over here. So in other words, by Acharecha as well, we say Mocher Karka, person can sell the land for Lokach Kvura and buy the wherewithal in order to bury whoever he needs to bury. Period. New issue. Rabbi Yosef said, Vilna the Kosvin, those who write in Misas below Banin, if I die without any kids, let the property which she brought in go back to her father's house, even though those who hold Yerushalmi Kesuvos the Raisa, and he's not going to inherit it. He's master mashkosa b'Torah. He's making condition against that which it says in the Torah. Nevertheless, tonight mamonu, it's a condition in matters of money, and therefore it's no kayam. Any condition of monetary matter is a valid condition. Period. Okay? Halacha base. New issue. Misha Mace. Somebody who died. It's a very interesting Mishnah. Misha Mace v'niach ishto. Somebody who dies and leaves a wife. Now what does the wife want? Ksuva. He died. Right? She wants a ksuva. Misha Mace v'niach by ishto ubalchov. And a creditor, and Yorshim, and heirs. So who should get the property? Voila Picadon. Now, we're talking not just about property which they immediately inherited. We're talking about property which is Picadon or Milva Biaracher. Something which the deceased, before he died, gave for safekeeping or as a loan to somebody else. So when the watchman or the lender gives back the money or the object, to whom does he give it back to? Rabbi Tarfon Omer, you give the weakest of the three, literally the most likely to fail. Rabbi Akiva Omer, Ein merachmin b'din. There's no rachmanas in judgment. Ella yinostu yorshim, let it be give to the heirs. All the other people mentioned here require an oath in order to collect property. And heirs don't require an oath. Rabbi Yosef Amar, when Rabbi Tarfon said L'koishel, was L'koishel mean? L'koishel b'rayotzev. So the person who has the least evidence, he's weakest in evidence, Kigon, such as Milah Beidim and Milah Vishtar. The two people are creditors. One has a loan which is outstanding, which there are only witnesses. The other has a loan which is outstanding, upon which there's a star. Who's the weaker of the two? Why? That's interesting. That's interesting. The Korban Eid explains that it means because a milva be'edim. I like your svara, but I don't think they say that here. A milva be'edim can't collect from property which is under lien to somebody else. A malva b'shtar can't. A star collects in the chasam shubadim from property under lien. A milva al-peh does not. So therefore, the person who's weaker in rayas in this case is who's the person who's weaker in evidence? The person only has edim, like you said. So therefore, he gets to have the property which is by safekeeping or loan outstanding. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan, lekoishel begufo. No, it's given to a weaker person. A person who doesn't have the stamina to face the long, extended court battle. So says the Gemara, I don't understand this. Imagine this. Hava a seer. Let's say the guy was rich. Could go in Elaine, the bar on Droy. Like those that asked the bar on Droy. They were very weak, but they were rich guys. So would you give it to them because they're so weak? So it says the Gemara, Rabbi Yachal, ani. It's got to be both. It's got to be weak and poor. Now, Ke'adan, who's that like? Who's examined that? Ke'adan, story. Ke'adan krivte the Rabbi Shmuel bar Abba. A certain relative of Shmuel bar Abba. Yavula mishum kaishel. They gave her the money after the death of whoever it was, her husband, I guess, because she was the weakest of the three in terms of her stamina. So Shimon Lakish heard this, that they gave it to her. So he brought, Asher Lakish brought Avdoi to Rabbi Yehuda Nasiya. He brought the Avadi of the house of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, and he made her give up the money or the property she got. Why? Because he said we don't paskin like Rabbi Tarfon, they give it to the weakest link. Don't do it, we give it to the heirs. So says the Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan Mistamik Rabbi Shimon bar Abba. Rabbi Yochanan was leaning on Rabbi Shimon bar Abba walking down the street. Amar so he said, Mana said, Rabbi Yochanan said to Rabbi Shimon bar Abba, Mana said, Bosania, what happened to that poor woman, the famous poor woman, right? What happened to her? So Amar so he responded, I said, Rabbi Shimon Lakish Avdu Rabbi Yehuda Nasiya. Reish Lakish brought the Avadim of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, Favik Mina, and I'm sorry. Rabbi Shimon bar Abba asked the question, what happened? And Rabbi Yochanan said, I say that Rabbi Shimon Lakish brought Avdu the Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, he brought the Seizer Nasi, Favik Mina, and removed it. In other words, took the whatever it was from him. So says Marvi, Yofanase. It's actually Rabbi Yochanan, I think, speaking, and he's saying the Sajman. Did Rabbi Yochanan, did Rabbi Shimon Lakish do a good thing? Because basically, everybody agrees you got to pass like Rabbi Kiva against Rabbi Tarfon. Kiva say you don't get to the weakest one. There's no Rachmanis in Halacha, right? But once you did something according to Rabbi Tarfon, and you did give to the weakest person physically, Rabbi Yochanan says it's not right to renege. Once you paskin, albeit erroneously that way, you should leave it that way. That's the same. You often now say you think it was good what he did, it was bad what he did. Now says the Gemara, Rabbi Yirmiyah said for Rabbi Zira, Nomar. Rabbi, it's Nomar usually means either will say, but here it means it's possible to say, like Ulai Nomar. Rabbi Yochanan Kedaite, Rabbi Shimon Kedaite. Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Shimon followed the lines of reason which are known to us from elsewhere. Tispalgun, very interesting machlokas. It's brought down in Bavli, but not the same way it is here. Tispalgun had machlokas akomodim. Everybody agrees. Shim tov shikol adas. They only made a mistake in the judgment call. She'ein machzirim, we don't make them take the court case back. We don't declare a mistrial. It was a judgment call. You might say they're right, they might say they're wrong, or vice versa. But since there's no way of knowing it's a judgment call, you leave the din intact. Okay? Midivrei Torah, if they made a mistake, so which is said in Torah, they forgot that it says don't steal, or something like that. So then, of course, Machzir, we make them go back. Ma pligin, where's their machlokas? Betos Mishnah. Where well, Machzir actually doesn't mean go back. We make him give back the money he got based on that mistake, if it's a mistake in Divrei Torah. Ma pligin, what is their machlokas? Betos Mishnah. In a mistake in a Mishnah. In other words, like here, it's a mistake between Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Tarfon. What do we say in that case? Rabbi Yochanan mar betos Mishnah shikol das. Rabbi Yochanan says if you make a mistake concerning a Mishnah, that's the same thing like the mistake in shikol das, and therefore it doesn't go back. You don't have to renege on deal. Rabbi Shimon Lakish Omar tos Mishnah, that when you make a mistake which has to do with the Mishnah, so then that's considered to be a one second, I forget what it means about Torah. Oh, I misread the line. No. What did you want to say? No, I made a mistake. No. I'm wrong, and you're wrong too. So we're okay. Okay? Just a minute. Let me go back. Hakomodim, very simple. Hakomodim shitov shikol dashe machzirin. I read wrong. If we made a mistake shikol das, you don't make a person go back. B'divrei Torah machzirin. Right? That's what I said before. There used to be a joke in Bnei Yisrael that they put out a student publication called the Or HaNer, which is kind of like the Or Shmuel here. It's to be a joke. You get in as long as you don't contradict explicit psukim, right? That's like the editorial cutoff line. So here, if you made a mistake in Shikul Adas in judgment, of course it doesn't go back. The Dayanim keep it. They'll keep the psak intact. If you made a mistake in explicit pasuk, you can't make the Or HaNer in there Yisrael. What do you think we're going to let you? Think we're going to let you get away with that and keep the judgment intact? You have to redo the court case. But if you made a mistake in a Mishnah, that's the toast of our Mishnah. Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Tarfon, that's the machlokas. Rabbi Yochanan, it's like a toast in Shikul Adas, and therefore you don't go back. Reish Lakish holds it's like a mistake in Divrei Torah, and therefore you have to go back. So therefore, that was besides the point. The poor relative, Rabbi Shimon bar Shmuel bar Abba, she got the money like Rabbi Tarfon, right? She shouldn't have gotten the money like Rabbi Akiva. Reish Lakish tells you go back, and the Gemara throws in the Shimon Loshmer Toast Var Mishnah is the Var Torah. So what's a Toast Mishnah which he agrees says if you made a mistake in a Mishnah, it's like a Var Torah. And what else is a Toast Mishnah which is subject to Machlokes? Toast he Toast Mishnah Toast Kanim. If you didn't know which Zakin to paskin like, right? He invented Rabbi Tarfon, and you paskin wrong. That's a variation on Toast Mishnah, right? Toast Mishnah is to forget a Mishnah. Toast Kanim is who we paskin like. So Reish Lakish holds if you forgot who the paskin like, you got to take back the halacha, and that's why he took back the money from the woman who was given it, like Rabbi Tarfon. What? Mistake. Move up. He's good. Okay. Whereas Rabbi Akiva holds that Rabbi Yochanan holds you only have to take it back if it's a toast in Dvar Torah itself and not a toast Mishnah. Okay. So a mistake in the Torah itself, not a mistake. And the mistake you made in forgetting Pesukim, not a mistake you made in Mishnayos. Okay. Period. Hagatzmicha. Now, this is getting back to the Mishnah itself. The Mishnah itself said that according to Rabbi Akiva, you give the property to the heirs because the heirs don't require shvuah in order to collect, whereas the other ones, a woman and a creditor, have to take a shvuah in order to collect. So that's why it's easier and more expeditious to give it to the heirs. So it says more, wait a minute. What about a case where the deceased husband exempted his wife from taking a shvuah, or the deceased man exempted his creditor from taking a shvuah? One of the other scenarios in which the creditor, the wife, is exempt from shvuah. So in that case, it's an even playing field again. The heirs don't have to take a shvuah, neither does the wife, and neither do the creditors. So why is one better than the other? We give it according to give it to the heirs. So it says, I'll tell you why. Because zu Torah v'zu eina Torah. The Yerusha of heirs is the Raisa. That's the way it works. Heirs inherit the Raisa. However, that's only by lands. By metaltalin, I'm sorry, by lands and by mul objects. I'm sorry, scratch that. They inherit the Raisa. Everybody else that can take over the property is not considered to be an inheritance to Raisa. It's some sort of, inflicting justice on them, that they have to pay a fine or they have to pay up, whatever the case may be. But that's not considered to be a chiyuv d'oraisa. I'm not saying that bad. I'm not saying that properly. By an heir gets whatever he gets d'oraisa. A creditor or a woman, what they collect from metaltalin at least is the Rabbana. Because shibud, d'oraisa, only is on karkos. So there only is on land. A lien is only on land. So therefore our Mishnah, which allows to collect, it's played by a din d'Rabbana, whereas the heirs inherit metaltalin, even d'oraisa. So it's better to give it to the heirs who have Yerusha d'oraisa, as opposed to anybody else who's collecting, only is collecting from the rabbinic authority. Okay?
Yochanan is an unusual statement. Tosfot our Mishnah
yeah. The Bible uses Tosfot Bar Mishnah in a different meaning, though. The Bible talks about Tosfot Bar Mishnah means. Yeah. Right. Yeah. You made a mistake. You made a mistake. So which has to do with the Mishnayos. It's supposed to explicit halacha. You're right. Well, maybe I'm wrong, but you're right. But the Bible only has two gradations: Tos Mishnah and Tos Shikol Adas. Whereas Yerushalmi has three gradations of Tos Torah, Tos Mishnah, and Tos Shikol Adas. So maybe there's machlokes in the Bible in Yerushalmi. Maybe you're right about that. And the Bible doesn't have the same three factors that Yerushalmi does. It's a good point. Okay. Halacha Gimel. Hiniach peros atlush min hakarka. What if the deceased left to be divvied up among his heirs and his wife and its creditors, fruit which is served from the ground? Kol kodim behem zachum. Anybody who gets there first gets them. Zach Isha, what if the woman got there first and she got them all? They're worth more than her ksuva. Yoisa ksuvosa. Or the creditor grabbed them and they're worth more than his debt. Hamos are the excess. By retirement, that excess, and again, you give it to the weakest among them. Rabbi Akiva Omer, there's no mercy in judgment. Eliyinostu liyorshim, it should be given to the heirs. Shekula and Tzrichim Shua, they ought to take a shvua, an oath that this thing is theirs. V'hu ve'ena yorshin Tzrichim Shua, and the heirs don't require that self-same shvua. Okay? Says more further, Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, these two great men, Tarvei and Armin, they both said, B'tzfur and B'surki, this is the only truth of fruit, is in it's not clear as surki is. Some say it's in in an alley, or in a public domain, or in a store. But the bottom line is, when do we say that that anybody who gets the first gets it? That's only if they weren't in a house; they were in some neutral zone. But if, let's say, one of them gathered the stuff in his house, his house gets the property for him. Is that clear? Yeah. If I have if my house is open, and let's say a deer runs into my house and breaks its leg, so I get to keep the deer because my house acquires it for me. It's like a kinyan chotzer.
It's gathered in front of a store, which is around it. Then
anybody can grab it. Right. Only among these three people, the Balchov, the Yoresh, the creditor, the heir, or the wife. Holding on. Dead guy's property.
He puts the parents out so that either the wife or the Yoresh or about
one of the three. Is that better? Okay. But what if they're in the heir's house already? They're not in neutral territory. They're in the heir's house, wherever the heir is, right? So, Zochlo Beso, his house acquires it for him. And none of the other people have claim. Rabbi Yochanan, not true! Even
he did not put them together in his house.
The heir. Right. It says more not true. Even if they're in a pile inside his house, whatever this property is, lo zochlo beso, his house doesn't acquire for him. Why? Davasova, an amazing concept. I seem to have some dim recollection that this is in the Bavli as well, but not in the Bavli here. So he says, my house, Davasova inun delay. If somebody's in my house and I thought it's mine. What's a good example?
Good sense. Kinyan chotzer only works if you have property.
Some jewelry in there? What?
Very unusual.
What's that?
That the concept of a house, property acquiring it for you,
I know it sounds very
requires intent.
Right. I seem to recall the Mutzi side like this being above Mitzvah the Bavli. Maybe I'm mistaken.
Leave some jewelry in there by mistake, the house acquires it?
No. That's being it's ownerless.
Oh.
Here, the guy died. The owner died, the original owner, right?
Also, all his property in the house is...
So all of his property, which is in the heir's house, I would think goes to the heir. But the more saying it doesn't. Why doesn't it? Because the heir didn't know they had to make a kinyan on it.
Oh, really?
He didn't know he had to make a kinyan. He thought it just automatically transfers to him. Joke's on him. Ah! He doesn't get it. Somebody else can come in and walk away with it. Okay? What? One of the other two. Yeah. Not just anybody, just one of the other two people. Okay? So it says...
There may be a logic to it. In that, you say, Chotzer Mitam Yad.
No. They don't need das of Chotzer Mitam Yad. Only Chotzer Mitam Shliach.
Really? You think of it, the Yad has to be, you can't just, it has to be reaching for something which...
I don't think so, but maybe you're right. Maybe I'm going to quote it correctly. So in any event, so it says tomorrow, to have a summer dina delay with lacing on the day. And similarly, the way the Gilead Ephraim changed the gears with one slightly, it says the kavasa similarly, may was say Babais zola peros b'shvius. A Babais goes into his own backyard to collect fruit that grows there during Shemitah. Does that fruit actually belong to him at this point in time? Stuff in his own backyard during Shemitah does actually belong to him?
Oh.
It's hefker, right? So when does he acquire it? He wants to go and acquire it. I'm Rabbi Yossi, I feel nothing. No! You fell into the trap! I feel nothing to Caleb, even if he put it into his pocket, let's say, into his garments. Lo zochbem, it doesn't work. Why? Because he thinks he's the Balabas still. Davasavar Meimar, he thinks inun didei, that it's his fruit. Files inun didei, and it's not his fruit. So unless he says explicitly, I am acquiring this l'shem Kenyan, doesn't work.
Even though it's not.
You still don't like it, huh?
Digesting it.
Okay.
It's nobody's. When he picks it up, it's different.
Because he didn't pick it up to make a Kenyan. It so remains hefker. Okay? Says the Gemara, Hi Armaluso. Now, we had a similar case. A certain woman who, after the death of her husband, she's a widow. Tufsa Armaluso, she grabbed a slave or maidservant from her husband's estate, not from Semilok, from her husband's estate. So, and she grabbed it for the purpose of, it seems, later she claimed she grabbed it for the purpose of collecting her ksuva from the first image which came to my mind. Okay, but in any event, so she comes and she grabs. Asuv the Kurabi, it's a tafas. Whatever she grabs, she grabbed. Rabbi Ami mapik minei. Rabbi Ami took away the maidservant from the widow. He said, she thinks it's hers. She doesn't think it's her husband's, and she's taking it for a ksuva. The reason why she took it is because she thinks it's her maidservant. She doesn't understand the finer points of having a dead husband. So she thinks it still is. You liked that one, didn't you? Okay. So says the Gemara, again, Rabbi Ami took it away for her. She thinks it's his. But Lehisinun, they're not hers at all. And it's like the following case. The certain kids were known as the sons of Shemi. The Damachabun, their father, Shemi, died. Shavglun Abun, Ace. The father left him a goat. Asam Rechova, their creditor came. It should be Venosva, and took it. Asu Dukum Rabbi Avo. So the story came from Rabbi Avo. Varmer, he said, the day Nosav, he took his own. Right? It's his because he's a creditor. So ask the Gemara, V'lo Tani, I don't understand how I can say. So we learn Yorish Balchov, an heir or a creditor, Shekara Mechabam B'tofas. If somebody one second. Yeah, okay. Says Amara, again, locate tight, then we learn Yerush Balchosh Kanamelchaman Tafas. If one of them came or along and sees the property, it should be Ein Motzi in Miyado. We don't take it away from him. So says the Gemara, so how come over here, could they take away the coat? So it says more, the same story said all along, to have and serving to Idun Ditu. They thought the coat was theirs. The goat's reality, not theirs. Why are the goats not theirs? They didn't make a kinyan on it. They inherited it without a kinyan that's not sufficient. I'm Rabbi Yaakov Basavti. Yaakov Basavti concedes. Said rather that Moder Rabbi Avo. Avo concedes she machrua mishkano metil talua. If they sold it, or if they put it up as collateral, or they carried it for the tent of 1 second. Yeah. Well, again, if they sold, the heirs sold the property. They didn't actually do Mashiach on it, but they sold it anyway. They eliminated go, and they just collected $200. Okay, so there was property which was allotted to them, and they just sold it unilaterally, right? Shimerchu Mishkanor, they gave its collateral unilaterally. Or they carried it from place to place for the purpose of acquiring it. So then, and then afterwards the creditor comes, the tafas, and wants to grab, we make and give it back. Now that's interesting. What he basically said is that if you use it in some way, shape, or form, even if the way you use it is by selling it, that clearly indicates to us that your case is a case where one second, I forgot how to prove this. Well, I was getting confused. It's very simple. We just said till now they need kavara to be koine. But if you sold it, it means you obviously have kavara to be koine because you don't sell things which you didn't own. Or mishkanu, if you gave us collateral, obviously you're displaying ownership because people don't give us collateral things they don't own. Or till you carried it with the intent that should display your ownership. That's considered to be sufficient. Then afterwards, the creditor comes with tapas and grabs what Timmy would take away from him. He had no right to grab. Okay? And again, we have the same question: why do we give it to the weaker ones? Because they have no shvua. God's choshim termin shvua. What about if they're exempt from a shvua? So zu Torah v'zu ain't no Torah. Again, the same before, Yerushalmi Kesuvos and the rest of that, so never you go after the Doraisa. Okay? And we give first dibs on everything to the husband. Okay. If somebody took his wife and made her a storekeeper, Chavetz Chaim's wife was a storekeeper, so that was, he made his wife a storekeeper. Or he put her in charge of some operation. That's like an apotropos. The apotropos is usually a guardian of orphans, but here she's a guardian of some other thing. Harezu mashbia, because obviously both are parent. Yeah, they're both alive. It's just somebody who's like their agent. So Harezu mashbia calls manchirtzer. So he can make her take an oath whenever he wants, to make his wife take an oath that she's making the proper cost profit ratio. So you make her take a shvua on that.
The same thing, the apotropos. You can make the apotropos make a shvua.
What? Yeah, apotropos can as well. Sure. Guardian. Areza mashbia calls manchirta. Now it can be mashbia on stuff which has to do with the nedorim or stuff like with the case proceedings, whatever the case may be. Rabbi Lezer me'afilu al pilcha v'alisasa, even on her own household domestic duties, we make her take a shvua. In other words, the husband can really go shvua crazy on his wife and make her take shvua even on her household duties, or what she made weaving and what she made, if anything, kneading dough. Okay? It says Mar Yosef Mar Rabbi Lezer. It's a good svara. Why does she have to take a shvua on everything? So it says Mar time that about one rabban required to take a shvua on everything. If the husband has such good sources, this Mishnah would back him up, because Oimer at Cain Because if you're going to say, like they want to say, Ein Shalom B'soch Beis Olam, a person will never have Shalom Bayis. Why? Because if you constantly ask her questions and make her take oaths, they used to say what will happen is that she's going to come to distrust him just like he distrusts her. That's going to be the end of everything, right? Yeah, Gain Shalom B'Sol Beisol Olam. Now that reads in the house. Now along these lines, very interesting more. It's not in the Bible either. Tysus brings it down. Shira Sakelin. A woman starts breaking. She's a klutz. She starts breaking cups in the house. Does she have to pay her husband for them? Shouldn't she have to pay her husband for them? Shira Sakelin. Ma'arav. What's her status? Kishomer Chinam? Is she like a Shomer Chinam? Unpaid watching, she only has to pay if she gets if she was negligent, or Kishomer Socher. Or is she like a paid watchman, and therefore she's got to pay no matter what, as long as it was an act of God. Or what's the other case? Yeah, it's the only as long as it was an act of God, she has to pay, right? Because if she let the if she broke the cup, she would have to pay for it. Says more mistabra ma'abdina kshomer socher. It makes sense to say shomer socher because obviously she gets sustenance from her husband, so she gets paid for the watch work she does, right? Means if she breaks the cups, the odds are she's chayav. Says the Gemara. I mean, they said I feel kshomer schinam. She's not even like shomer schinam. Why? If you're going to do that. Ain't Shalom Beisol B'soch Bayis Olam. There's never going to Shalom Bayis. So he's going to keep a running tally against his wife how many cups she broke. So therefore, she's not a Shomer, not even a Shomer Eschina. Through the deducting from a Kesuvos, something like that. Okay? Says more. It says Mishnah further. Kasav lo. If you wrote for Neder Ushvua Ein Li Olayich, I can't require you to make me any oaths. He relinquishes that right against her. He can't make her take an oath. But he can make the other heirs take an oath. That's the one Shus and those people who crossed her path take an oath. Shvua ainli olayich. If he says, however, won't be able to take a shvua neither on you, or require to take a shvua neither you, nor your shaykh, nor your heirs, nor those who come into your property by your leave, then he can't cause her to take an oath. Lo son, not she, lo Yershan, nor her heirs, the law is Aboyim Shusa, nor those who come after her. But that's only binding upon him as a person. But his heirs can make her take Shvuos. That's Yershan, not just hers. That's Aboyim Shusa, those who come in her domain as well. Okay? So, this is all kind of legalese, I guess. I'm not sure what the big chiddush in the Mishnah is. But anyway, says Rabbi Yonim, Rabbi Yossi, Tarvein, Armin, they both said, Lo so tov in the chatzim shlish torah and b'chaye bala. We're not just talking about here property which he acquired during her father's lifetime. Ela fil chatzim shtal b'mlach misasov. He probably acquired after his husband's lifetime. He probably she acquired after her husband's death. Eina yosh mashmina osa. The heirs can't make her take an oath. Where'd you get the money to buy that property? That's not within their rights. Says the Gemara Tamati, we learned over there. Asocher para mechavero. If somebody borrow or rents a cow from his friend, v'shil acher. You know, this is going to be a fundamental thing. Maybe we should get a little introduction. There's a halach of shemer shemosel l'shemer. Normally, you're not allowed to give something b'shmir to somebody else. If you're a shomer, you can't give a shmir to somebody else. What?
Shmir?
Safeguarding. What if I ask permission, though? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right.
The classic case is I'm a sailor, which we're going to discuss. I'm a renter. And I lend it to somebody else. And now the thing goes bad. So I could take a shvuah. Whatever the case is, I could take a shvuah and get off the hook. But the shoel can't take a shvuah and get off the hook. Unless it died in the course of labor. So I actually can make a profit on this deal. I'll get off. He's not going to get off. And that's what the Gemara is going to discuss, all sorts of cases of that sort. So, all right, well, I think we'll leave it till Monday in order to discuss, but that's what we're going to discuss here. I already davened also. Turn off the tape, please.